video, I have decided to talk about things not to say to someone that has had a miscarriage or is going through one now. So if you have friends or family that have gone through a miscarriage, I've just decided to do a video on things not to say. And the reason I've done that is not because I feel like my friends and family have all said the wrong thing and I feel like it's not helped me in any way. That's not the case. They've all been really supportive, but I do think, like I've mentioned before, people panic, don't know what to say, and can sometimes worry about saying the wrong thing and then still say the wrong thing. But it doesn't mean that they mean it. It's just, it comes from a place of trying to want to be there for you. So I understand that. But if you've said any of these to me and you see this video, you know, I know that it's never that you would have meant it this way. This is just some ideas for people to take on board, maybe to address it a bit differently if they were to meet someone again who's gone through a loss. I've had a few of these myself, all from, you know, different friends and family, people that I love and people that love me. And so, like I say, it's not about, you know, me sort of picking people out of line. It's more about, you know, what could you say instead of. So I've had things, when I had my one, you know, where you've got your boy. Hello, back again. So I'd have things like, at least you've got your boys. And yes, I do have my two sons. And now knowing that I have PCOS and I've still had my two boys is great. But that does not ignore the loss that I'm grieving for. I'm grieving for a pregnancy and I'm grieving for a baby that I never had, that I should have had. Like I'm sitting here right now by myself and there should be a newborn baby right next to me, and there isn't. So yes, although I do have my sons, if you say this to anybody, even, you know, women that have had, you know, like sons, daughters, older children, it is hard hitting because sometimes it can make you feel like, you know, I haven't forgotten how lucky I am. I'm aware of the fact that I have these two beautiful boys, but it doesn't stop me feeling like crap and missing the loss that I've had and grieving for that. So I've had that one. I've also had things like, at least you can get pregnant, or at least you know you can get pregnant. That one was tricky for me because obviously with getting diagnosed with my PCOS, it doesn't guarantee me to get pregnant again. If I was to get pregnant again, not only would I be extremely lucky to have fallen pregnant naturally, without any interference, without any medical interference, I'd be so lucky to fall pregnant naturally. I would be lucky to continue the pregnancy, for it to lead to a baby. And sometimes when people know that, in the kindest way, they ask me, you know, do you want to put yourself through that? Do I want to put myself through potentially losing another one, or potentially losing a loss later in a pregnancy? And of course I don't want to put myself through that, but of course I would love another child. So I'm not going to not have another child because of fear. I know that I want to have another child, and me and Nick had decided that we would probably go as far as IVF, and then after that, if things like that didn't work, then I would probably call it quits. I don't know how I'll feel in the future, I don't know. But at the moment, we're just doing things to find out what's going on with us, what we can do, and where to go from there. Other things that I've had said, I've got some written down here just to remind me, because I keep forgetting them all. Oh, I had this one as well. It wasn't a real baby. I've actually had someone say this to me when I was upset about it. And people sort of say, you know, you were 9 weeks, it's not a real baby. It's like a tiny, tiny baby. Like, you know, you could be 4 weeks and people are like, oh, it's not real though. It is real. And the reason it's real is because of the hopes and dreams and future that it brings to your mind Like you made plans for that baby. No one else in your life, you know, other than your partner, no one else in your family or your friends would understand if they haven't been through this themselves. You would have imagined what the baby will look like, what you're going to call the baby, when it's due, what will you be doing that time of year. You would have planned the whole thing and thought about how you're pregnant and you're going to get bigger and have all these future plans, and to have them just taken away, that is real. So yes, the baby is very real and was very real. So I've also had, it was nature's way, and maybe it's for the best. So I've had people say to me, you know, it's so common, it's nature's way, maybe it was for the best. And whenever I get it's for the best, because I've had it's for the best because it could have, like, the baby could have had something wrong with it. So like, could have been like a hormonal issue, and then that's why my body decided that I would have a miscarriage. It's not the best. Like, who is it the best for? Because it's not the best for me, because I'm grieving, my husband's grieving, my oldest son, who's 10, keeps asking for another brother or sister. It's not the best for anybody. And I had a conversation with someone that actually said to me, you know, would you rather had a child that had special needs or difficulties? And that really upset me. My son has autism. My oldest child has autism. I would rather my child be alive and well, whether that means well in a sense of having no special needs issues, or well and having special needs issues. I would cope with it. It's my child. And especially because my son's autistic, that's like me, you know, if I found out he was autistic when I was pregnant, would I have not had him? Absolutely not. I would have carried on with that pregnancy and still had my little boy, regardless of the fact that he has autism or that he has special needs and issues like that. And that's not, I'm not saying bad things about any parents that go through things and decide not to continue their pregnancies. That is their life, that is their choice. Luca was my life and he was my choice. So that one really, really upset me when people say, you know, there could have been something wrong with the fetus. You cope with things that aren't right, like you do. If a child's born with only one arm, there's plenty of people in the world that live like that. You just get on with it. You support each other, your family, and you love each other. So that one did upset me quite a bit. I've also had, now this is a tricky one, but I've also had, at least you weren't that far along. I don't know if I've said this one already, but at 9 weeks, you're 9 weeks pregnant, okay? You can lose a baby at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and beyond. And although I didn't have the physical complications of a later loss, so like a later pregnancy loss, however far along you are, it's still a loss of a pregnancy, it's a loss of a life. And everybody who goes through this should be allowed to grieve in their own way. Yes, I personally think going through a loss much later must be very hard. I mean, I was 9 weeks. Things had started to change physically for me, so my bras were a little bit tighter. I was already in maternity bras because mine always just go mad whenever I'm pregnant. But they, you know, I would come back from finding out that I'd had a miscarriage and there were still signs in my body, definitely. Like, I would still wee more frequently, I would feel a bit sick, and physically I could tell that I looked like I was pregnant still. And then to have that at a much later stage, when you've been growing a baby for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, however many months, and then have a loss, to do all the physical changes when you come home. You know, a lot of people are, you know, you might have had a baby shower, and a lot of people are looking forward to meeting the baby, and you've told everybody as well. So no grief is to compare. Everybody grieves differently, and be it 4 weeks, be it 38, a loss is still a loss. They're just different. That's all it is. And also sometimes, just on that really quickly, sometimes it can diminish someone who's lost at 8 or 9 weeks over someone later, and there's no comparison, you know. Someone's lost a pregnancy, they've lost a pregnancy. That's pretty much as far as it goes, you know. And it's crap. So yeah. I think I've done most of them now. But I mean, just sort of be careful with certain things that you do say to people. It is hard to talk about, and when you're trying to be there for a friend or family member who's going through it, you don't want to put your foot in your mouth. The best thing that you can say is, you know, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I'm here. You can just say, no, I'm here for you. Just let that person just talk it out. Just let them talk it out. And when there is a silence, and, you know, sometimes you might feel the need to fill it, just say, you know, I could never understand what you're going through because I'm not going through it, but I you know, I feel awful for you, or something like that. Just be there, I think, is the best option. Don't worry so much about saying the wrong or right thing. But these are just some of the things that I've experienced and how I've had said with me. And it can be hard. I've had people I've spoken to who have said, you know, well, yeah, but you weren't that far along, you know, you can get pregnant again and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, sometimes you feel like screaming at them. It's hard to contain, for sure. But that's it for this video, and there's a fly on my camera. But yeah, so if you made it through, thanks, and I will be doing a video soon. If not, I might do one straight after this, just because the camera's ready. Really about all my PCOS and how I found out about that and things like that. So thanks very much, and see you soon.